Hey guys, Cocky here. So it's finally time for Zenless Zone Zero's first PvP event, the one that most people are concerned with. That is the Alan Shangdudu versus Zhu Yuan, who is actually worth your pull because you don't want to be disappointed with pulling the wrong character. And this video is going to be presented more from a CN perspective with their opinions on whether you should be pulling and which one you should be pulling for. So let's dive right in. To start things off, the reason why we are even doing this comparison in the first place is simply due to limited pool income. Taking a look at how much pool income we are potentially getting come launch for version 1.0, you can see on your screen the realistic pool income documented by Catalyst Online as well as I Am Ravenous, and that is 139 rate up pools, assuming full conversion from the polychromes, which is the premium currency, into the rate up pools. Now, assuming also that ZZZ follows Genshin's soft PT rates, the average pools required for one rate up unit is roughly 105 pools, give or take. So we are going to assume you should be able to get either one rate up but not both rate ups by the end of version 1.0. For you folks, of course, that are always losing 50-50, this will likely not apply to you, unfortunately, but hopefully one day you will get good at pulling. Now, with that out of the way, let's first take a look at Ellen and what she has going for her. Ellen is a Ice Attacker S-rank unit and the only Ice Attacker at launch. When it comes to execution difficulty, she is considered to be relatively easy to use, which is really good if you are more of a casual player. Since this game is an action combat game, I would say that the feel-good factor of using a character is also definitely playing a huge part in pool decisions, so I wanted to include that as well. However, that is not all that she has to offer, and on the DPS front, her Flash Charge Freeze basic attack multiplier is pretty insane with her third part damage at a whopping 461% at level 1, consuming the Flash Freeze charges, and she can pretty much easily generate these charges as compared to Zhu Yuan, which will have a bit more difficulty, but I will touch on that later on. Now, how you generate her Flash Freeze charges is through her roaming state, especially with her Charge Scissors attack, and this is relatively easy and doesn't rely on energy, so we can say that her sustained DPS capabilities are really good. Now, keep in mind these are mostly the single target aspects, however that's not to say that she is only great in single target environments. She is also a great AoE DPS as her EXQ special attack, Shagnami, has great AoE clearing capabilities with high multipliers, which will be useful for clearing random mobs. Now, speaking about clearing mobs, speed is also a huge factor in ZZZ since most stages are time-based, and Ellen's roaming state allows her to speed up like Sonic, which will definitely play a part in speeding up clears. When it comes to her team building aspects, she also has the advantage of having complete teams at launch with Sokaku as well as Lycion. Sokaku is a unit that you will get for free by clearing early shield defense flaws, while Lycion is a strong 5-star stunner that can be obtained through the standard pool, and more specifically, most people will be obtaining him through the beginner banner 300 pools if they missed out on the random one at 50 pools. And this is not to say that without Lycion you can't actually team build with Ellen, because just with Ellen and Sokaku alone, you can pair with any stunner including NB, which is a free stunner that you can obtain, so team building for Ellen is rather easy. Now, an additional note on Sokaku is that she is also featured on Ellen's banner as a rate up A rank unit, so getting one dupe for her even activates her talent A that reduces ice resistance, which is pretty decent, so that's another bonus. Last thing of note is also that at launch, if you're concerned with progression, Ellen is going to be perfect for you because you'll be finding a lot of enemies that are weak to ice, as well as boosting the ice elements in shield defense, which is pretty much the MOC TOA Abyss equivalent, and just having Ellen will help you clear the shield defense flaws up to the stages whereby you need 2 tips. So this is going to be absolutely amazing news for people that wants to clear as much content as soon as possible. Now, for the reasons why you might potentially want to skip on Ellen, the only reason I can think of at the moment is going to be the existence of Miyabi, an A-rank ice attacker that was playable back in CBT1 who competes with her directly. However, I strongly doubt that Hoyo will make the A-rank attacker stronger than the S-rank Ellen from a logical standpoint. Regardless though, if you are a Miyabi fan, then you will definitely have reasons to skip on Alan since they fulfill the similar role in the team building context. Next, moving on to our Zhu Yuan, she's an Eater attacker unit that is easily the strongest burst unit at launch, and her damage comes mainly from gaining her enhanced shot skills, i.e. her bullets, which allow her to dish out Eater damage on short notice while consuming little field time. Her enhanced shot shells can also be obtained mainly through the chain attacks as well as the EX skill, and seeing how she requires little field time, her playstyle is very suitable for quick swap teams where you have multiple team members sharing field time, so she might fit a disorder team much better than Alan come launch. As for her team building aspects, she has great synergy with Nico, which is a free Eater type A rank support unit, which is also conveniently on the rate up for Zhu Yuan, and getting one dupe to activate talent A on Nico will boost the anomaly build up, so that's pretty important as well for Zhu Yuan. Now when it comes to Zhu Yuan's problems, unfortunately I have a lot more to list as compared to Alan. Her main problem has to be how she hits like a wet noodle without her enhanced shot shells, and the ways from which she generates shot shells are not as easy compared to Alan, as it's mainly from her EX and chain skills that requires energy and days respectively. This can be somewhat elevated if you pull on the dupe for Zhu Yuan to get the talent A to have this quick reload function, but for the free to play folks, I don't think it's realistic to say that you're going for 2 copies of Zhu Yuan. Now, another thing that you want to take note of is that she definitely needs a strong teammate to occupy the field time, and if you're using MB as a free stunner as with the team building aspects that I mentioned for Alan, the damage front might be lacking while she's off the field on her downtime. So this will definitely pull down the overall team DPS. As for her other team building problems, one of it has to be the tying to Nico, because at launch there is only one other Eater unit and that is Nico, and there is no other unit in her faction. So to trigger core passives in Zenless Zone 0, you either have to pair them with a same element unit or a same faction unit. So there's no other unit at launch in her criminal investigative faction, so this is somewhat of a problem if I were to say so myself. Now when it comes to the progression front, like I've mentioned just now for Alan, which is hugely advantageous, unfortunately the script is flipped for Zhu Yuan. In the launch environment, not only do you have enemies that are not weak to Eater or very little of them, there are also a lot of the enemies that are actively resistant to Eater, so this really doesn't help Zhu Yuan's pool value if you are concerned with progression. What is more as well is that you have to consider the fact that Zhu Yuan is harder to play than Alan, which is rather easy. So if you're a more skilled player, Zhu Yuan can be more fun to play, have a higher ceiling for sure, but if you're more of a casual player, you're going to have a harder time trying to progress with Zhu Yuan. Now overall, it does seem like going for Alan will be a better progression choice, and also I think in general just a character power levels as well, Alan seems to be stronger even disregarding the launch environment. However, in the future we cannot predict what units will come out that will lift up Zhu Yuan, because right now there are only 2 Eater units. Maybe an Eater stunner in the future is going to be released that is so busted that makes Alan pale in comparison to Zhu Yuan. Now overall, I would definitely say that Alan is the better pick if you were just thinking of at launch from meta perspective. Of course, you're free to pull whoever you want, you don't need a middle-aged man to tell you who to pull for and make your decisions for you. Regardless though, I think that the main reason also why Alan is better is because the fact that the progression system in Zenless Zone 0 is extremely restrictive, because the materials that you get from the leveling up perspective, right, doesn't allow you to build too many characters to max level. Even to hit level 50 is very difficult, while the max level is level 60. So if you do not have a carry for the first half of the version 1.0 and you're waiting for Zhu Yuan, if you're going to build another one, it's going to eat up your main DPS materials, and when it comes to Zhu Yuan, right, second half, you already have the materials being wasted technically, although eventually you want 2 teams, but it's not as realistic unless Zenless Zone 0 Hoyo games give us a lot of free rewards. Regardless though, if you are interested in any of the units beyond just these 2, Alan, Shark Doodoo and Zhu Yuan, definitely check out this video over here where I touch on the CN opinions for the rest of the units at launch. I'll see you guys over there. This is Corky Gachas, signing off.